And I think I think old sayings get to be old sayings because they're profound. And you say she doesn't get the fables and all. Well, you need to get this. You sometimes hear people say, yeah, she knows just enough to be dangerous. You know just enough to be dangerous. You go take you're a weekend warrior. You go take a weekend class in BPD, and then everybody you see's got BPD.
I hear that.
It's above your pay grade in that you're not trained to be diagnosing her, and therefore, and you writing these therapists. I'll tell you, if I was in private practice for years, if I got these diatribes from you, I'd just put them into paper shredder and I'd turn around and talk to my
But she doesn't say anything when she goes.
Well, but here's the but. The but is you need to understand, I don't need you to tell me how to work with somebody.
Because if they don't come at all,
then I can't work with them. But if they do, I don't need you to tell me how to interview them. I don't need to tell me how to get to the bottom.
I know. I guess I am just desperate. I'm desperate.
Yeah. You have a daughter that you want to get back into your life, and I want very much for you to do that. I think you have a drug history that has disrupted you developmentally, and I think you need some help with that. And I want to do two things with you, completely separate from your mother. I want to get you some professional help in two ways. I want to get you a professional therapist that has no contact with your mother. And then secondly, and separately, I want to get you a life coach. I want to get someone that will sit down with you and assess and evaluate all of your strengths, all the things that you have going for you, and start putting together an action plan for you to get some traction in your life where you can really have some independence, where you can get a job that you can stay with, where you can get a place to raise this little girl, so you can really start getting back and using the intellect that you have and the skills that you have. Because when you do things like call and say, hey, I'm in a commercial, then that's a real fleeting touch with reality. That's not rational thinking. And the therapist will help you with that. Maybe you need medication, maybe you don't. That will be up to them. But then I want you to have a life coach so you have somebody to help you get a plan and get some traction in your life. And I think that in a very short period of time, the world's going to look a whole lot different to you. And I think you're going to earn that little girl being back in your lap. And that's what I'd like to do. I don't want to criticize you, I just want to help you. Okay? All right. Fair enough?
Oh, thank you, Dr. Phil. Thank you.
All right, coming up, the worst thing a mother could imagine happened in her own backyard. That story next. It's been described as the greatest loss anyone can ever experience, the death of a child. Anytime you grieve a loved one, it's going to have an impact. Now, my next guest, Debbie, lost her youngest son, Tony, 7 years ago in such a tragic way that the grief is still overwhelming. Here's Debbie's story.
It hurts most to see when he's very young. My youngest son, Tony, was cleaning our pool and drowned. I can remember my husband calling me, and then he said, Tony is gone. I dropped to the floor, and I just started screaming, my son has drowned. When Tony died, a piece of me went with him. I miss hearing Tony laugh. I miss him saying, hey, Mama. I'll always cry, but I'll always have his love in my heart and those wonderful memories forever.
Well, Debbie is joining me along with our very good friend and Chief Medical Officer of Pfizer, Dr. Frieda Lewis Hall. Welcome to you both.
Thank you.
Debbie, I'm so sorry for your loss. And one thing you'll not hear me say is I know how you feel. Tell me how this affects you still today.
Well, Dr. Phil, there's a sense of me that I still feel